WayneCounty.info gives you one-click access to local headlines, information, events, photos, opinion, sports, government updates, emergency alerts, obituaries, and more. Sign up for the WayneCounty.info daily news summary email so you don't miss a thing.
Hello and welcome to the Third Sector. I'm your host, Tamara Brinkman. In our society, there are three sectors: the public, the private, and the nonprofit, and it's that third sector that we are here to talk about today. My guests on today's show are Sharlene George and, and Derek Parker from Open Arms Ministry, as well as later we'll have Kyle Ingram from Circle U. So first, we have Sharlene George, who's the Executive Director of Open Arms Ministry, and with her is Derek Parker, who is the Director for Outreach and Marketing. Welcome to the show, guys. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
We're happy to have you.
Thank you.
So I'll let you guys decide who's going to take the questions, but tell us about Open Arms Ministry. How did you guys get started in the work you do, and how long have you been doing it?
2009. A couple of the churches got together. The pastor said, you know what, every Sunday after church when I'm shaking hands, somebody will say, Pastor, I need $300 to pay my light bill or they're going to disconnect me tomorrow. And we have no way, the pastors really don't deal with that part of the money, and they had no way of verifying needs. And they started talking and said, wouldn't it be great if we could pool our money? Some of us don't have a lot, have a central office that would validate everything and just take care of this. And they spent a year talking to all of the churches in Richmond. And at the end of that year, 8 churches said, you know what, let's give this a try. So in 2009, those 8 churches opened an office actually in the broom closet at one of the churches. And they were there for the first year and had enough business that they decided they needed a little more space. They hired a part-time director, and we are in our 12th year now. I've been here, this is my 12th year as well. Oh. And it's been incredible. In the beginning, all we could do was pay a small amount on a utility bill or a week's rent with a month owing. Now we're able to pay a full month's rent. We're able to pay full utility bills. It's just been incredible. And as we've journeyed through there, we've added other services. At times when money was really slim, what can we do? There are still vulnerable populations out there. So our founding churches were so wise in providing guidelines, but not hard clasped policies. So as trends change with those in poverty, we can change the services that we give.
That's great that flexibility was provided and built into the plan. Is it still 8 churches that make up Open Arms Ministry? Is it all the same folks that started together?
We have 12 churches, and 7 of those are the original 8. One of those churches dissolved, Church of the Brethren. That is the only one we ever lost. And then we've added some churches as well. It's just been, and our churches range from very large congregations to congregations of 15. Right. And there's no hard set rule in terms of how much they have to contribute annually. They contribute what they can, and every church provides volunteer hours as well. So what we have to serve with is flexible. We may have less money this month and more money next month. Okay. But the needs are flexible too. Last month I had 44 calls. This month I'm up to close to 20, but it's less. So it varies.
Right. What is the mission and the vision of the organization? You know, what all are you trying to do? So obviously you're doing some support in utility, and you mentioned that, and the rent, but you also mentioned some other services that you've been able to sort of be able to potentially provide or help with?
First thing we did was add budget education to our intake process. And when we added it, we were the only agency doing that. So we have a very comprehensive intake process. And when we sit with the client, we have a budget sheet and we have them complete that. It includes things like cigarettes and Cokes at the village pantry, things that our clients, I've had them cry in the process. They've never looked at how they use their money.
Right.
So as we're considering paying a bill for them, we're also helping them look at how they're managing the funds that they have.
Wow.
That was the first thing we did. And, originally the goal was just to help in a time of crisis. Our central goal is to keep families in their homes. So we want to prevent evictions and utility disconnects.
Right.
But we also want to help that client become sustainable. And sometimes they're just not in a life situation where they're even able to look at that. Sometimes it is pay the bill and that's it.
Right.
But as we went along, we realized there were populations who had needs who didn't even know how to find resources. And when our money was slim, we started serving the homeless. We have 25 daily products in a bag that go out. We do 25 bags a month and serve those who are homeless. We have sleeping mats and things like that. Then we added a project. A couple of pastors were very concerned about felons who were reentering. So we assist them with, we do not pay for their living, their residential situation, but we assist them with finding places that will hire them and with bus passes and things like that. So I think that our mission has changed from the Band-Aid in the time of crisis to reaching a hand out to very vulnerable populations who are reluctant to acknowledge their situation and helping them develop self-confidence, to be hopeful, and to reach out and try and improve their situation.
Yeah. Well, it's wonderful that as part of your work, you're really trying to help them get past the barriers that are causing them to be in the situation that they're in. And I think just being able to give some folks the tools that can help them try to work towards staying out of that situation are just, it's phenomenal. I think that that's just wonderful work. With that, do you want to give a little bit of an overview of your staff?
We
Go for it.
So we get by on a very frugal staffing arrangement. None of us are full-time. Sharlene is half-time and I'm half-time. And we also have a very part-time office administrator, and anything else is done by volunteers. So we try to, in terms of the resources the agency has, direct as much as we can towards client relief and client programs, and limit how much is being used for staffing. And so it's a pretty frugal model, but we want to maximize, because we're a vehicle for both the churches, but also individual donors and a small number of businesses to have their values at work in the community, preventing eviction, as well as utility shutoffs that can have a really negative impact on a person's ability to engage just in daily living tasks.
Yes. Tell us, if your organization ceased to exist, what would the impact be to the community?
I think one of the things we'd see here in Wayne County is that a lot of the people that we help are in a bit of a gray zone, and they don't quite fit into categories that other agencies help with. So they may be working, but they don't make quite enough money for a number of government programs that might help them with a rental crisis or a utility crisis. But we're in the position to do that. There are also situations where Like, for example, if somebody has lost their job within a certain period of time, under normal circumstances, for example, the township trustee can help with some of these crisis situations. But if there's been a job loss within a certain period of time, by law, the trustee cannot help them with that particular crisis. And so we also are able to fill that gap.
Right.
And so we have people who would otherwise fall through the cracks, and trying to keep people out of situations where they have no heat, they have no water, they have no lights, but also eviction.
Right.
Families that have gone through eviction often face long-term consequences. If there are children involved, an eviction can be very traumatizing for a child in a home. And often for years, those children will feel very insecure, no matter where they're living, that possibly at any time they could lose where they live,
Right.
And not know where they're going. And so this provides family stability. For seniors who end up losing their housing arrangement, actually for people of any age, but seniors have a particular vulnerability because of their fixed income situations. Right. An eviction in your housing record, your background, can consign you to a lot of substandard rental arrangements.
Right. They don't want to take you on as the liability.
And in a lot of communities in Indiana, you might think, well, maybe those substandard things cost less, but quite often they're going to charge you just as much as a standard rental property that is properly maintained and sanitary. So a lot of this is providing household stability no matter what.
Right.
What the family arrangement is, whether it's a senior household or a younger household, and especially with children, the long-lasting traumatic impact of a child going through an eviction.
It is quite amazing work that you do. It is much needed. It's great that you're able to come alongside and like you said, help those that are the working poor, often referred to, people might hear them as Alice, right? So they're working, but they don't make enough to make ends meet. And it's that poverty cliff where you make too much to not qualify for the other things, but you're always still short. It's a tough cycle for folks to get out of, and really hard and frustrating when you are working. You're not sitting around doing nothing, but you can't really make it happen.
We also get clients who are sometimes recently disabled, and so they're in that gap where they've suffered the disability and the loss of work, but the whatever disability program they're entering into hasn't quite kicked in yet, which can leave them in a really dicey place because your utilities do not pause when you become disabled. Your rent does not pause when you become disabled, but the assistance can take time to kick in.
Yeah. Life doesn't pause, but that assistance can definitely take some time. Well, that's actually going to take all the time that we have for today. I can say for those watching and for you guys, because you can't see it, Sharlene and Derek, but we were putting up your website. So if people are interested, or not your website, I'm sorry, your email. And so if people have questions or are looking for assistance or maybe even want to just volunteer, richmondopenarms@gmail.com. We also put up the Facebook, Open Arms Ministries, as well as the phone number to connect with you all. I want to thank you both, Sharlene and Derek, for joining me today and for sharing with the community the great work that you all do, that Open Arms Ministries does for Wayne County. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
When we come back, Kyle Ingram from Circle U will be joining me. Stay with us. Welcome back. Kyle Ingram from Circle U is joining me today. Welcome to the show, Kyle.
Hey, it's great to be here. Appreciate your patience.
Oh, well, we're so happy to have you. I'm glad to get you. Kyle is the executive director for Circle U, one of the food pantries here in serving Wayne County. Do you serve surrounding counties as well, or do you primarily just serve Wayne County, Kyle?
We serve Fayette and Union counties as well.
Okay, all right, perfect.
But I would say primarily 90% of what we do comes from Wayne County.
From Wayne County. Well, so let's take a step back. Why don't you share with our viewers, tell us about Circle U. How long has it been in the community? How did it get started?
Circle U started in 1979. And it's my understanding, I wasn't in the community at that time, that where our current facility is, a lady lived here, saw some folks that were struggling, offered them a meal, and that's kind of how this whole thing began, was with an individual who had a big enough heart to offer somebody that was struggling. And we now serve 3 hot meals per week, Mondays, Tuesdays, and Saturdays. We open the doors around 9 o'clock, here to about 12:15, 12:30. And our usual numbers are anywhere from 85 to 100 people each day.
Oh, wow. What is, I mean, obviously feeding people is the primary service that you provide. What is your mission? What is the goal of the organization?
Well, it is to try to make sure that those individuals, families who are either food insecure, maybe unemployed temporarily, people that have been incarcerated, that need a place to come to eat, that we want to make sure that those individuals are taken care of. Now, I said we're open Mondays, Tuesdays, and Saturdays. You know, we're in here Thursdays and Fridays as well. So if people stop in and we happen to be here and they need a meal, they need something to get them through the day, we're more than happy to do that. So in a roundabout way, the mission is just to make sure that those folks, if you're in need of food, you're hungry, you need to get something to get you through the day, that's what we're here to make sure happens. That's what we want to do.
So important, that work, so important. And we have, while you were talking, put up the website, circleu.org. We've also put up the phone number. So if we have viewers watching that, you know, have a need, they can reach out to you. And if, or they know folks that they can connect, that they may work with or volunteer with that have this need, they can connect with you. So we're putting that info up for our viewers.
Okay.
Tell us about, do you have staff? I mean, we see you, so do you have other staff members, or how does that work?
Oh yeah, we have an assistant, Jack Doyle, who is also our board president. We have numerous volunteers that without their help, without their assistance, we can't do, you know, what we do here. We have a full-time cook who is here that prepares the hot meals that we hand out 3 days a week. And then we have church volunteers because we have twice monthly food pantries, the second and the fourth Saturday of each month from 2 to 4, and local churches through their congregation come in and help distribute those boxes of food. We also have a senior pantry the third Tuesday of each month from 1 to 3 here at our facility. And without the volunteers and the folks that send in the food, donate food, we just can't do what we do without, you know, helps of those types of individuals.
So it kind of takes me to my next question, which is how do you guys get funded? How do you get the food? How are you able to put all this back out to the community and in that support?
We are aligned with Gleaners Food Bank,
okay,
as well as Midwest Food Bank. Gleaners will drop shipments to us once a month, probably anywhere from 8,500 to 10,000 pounds of assorted food items each month.
Wow.
And then with the private sector here in the community, local merchants, private businesses and individuals through constant fundraising, much like at the United Way. Funding sources, Wayne County Foundation. We're in constant need of raising funds to help us get through year to year. And if again, I hate to repeat, but without the support of this community and the surrounding counties, financially, schools do local food drives. I mean, we just had Seton Catholic just did a food drive for us, and we're in the midst of trying to get them to. They'll drop it off, and we'll drop by and pick it up. It's a community effort,
Right.
and that's kind of where we're at.
Well, we are lucky that we have a community that is so supportive of one another and wants
Absolutely.
to ensure that those that are struggling, more vulnerable, and not getting the hot meals or roofs over their heads or things like that are working to support the organizations that do carry out that work on a day-to-day basis. So
We just started a new initiative with communities and schools. And there's 22 schools in Wayne County, and each one of the schools has a site coordinator. And we started in January, and today was the actual third day that these individuals have come by our facility to pick up snacks for those students that they've identified as maybe being food insecure. And according to Feeding America, we roughly have 9,500 students in Wayne County. And of that number, 80% are on free or reduced lunch. And of that number, 20% are defined as food insecure. That's roughly 2,000 students. And we're in a process now of trying to raise $25,000 to $30,000 specifically for the purpose of providing healthy and nutritious snacks for the students in Wayne County who fall in that category of food insecure.
wow. What impact can folks have on the community through your organization if they wanted to come to volunteer?
Oh, the volunteer,
Okay.
I mean, we got probably 12 or 13 people that are in here each day, 3 days a week, Monday, Tuesdays, and Saturdays to help. We have people that just walk in on Saturday, even though we have churches here that will walk in to help pack boxes. They'll just stop in and ask, what can they do today to help in any way, shape, or form. We've had people walk through the alleyways here, pick up the trash, and put in the dumpsters. And a lot of that is just sight unseen. It's just really amazing what support we have, and I know the other food pantries do as well. But we feel kind of where we're at here on North 13th Street and in this area of town that the people tend to take care of their own down here, and it's really kind of a special thing.
What would happen if Circle U ceased to exist in our community?
Well, we hear it almost daily. Someone will say, "Thank you, God bless you. I don't know what I would do if I didn't have this place to get a meal." So if you extrapolate that into the numbers that not only we do, or here at Circle U, but Community Food Pantry, Gateway, and other facilities. We are the only one that I know of right now that provides at least 3 hot meals per week. So if we're not here, then where do these folks, 85 to 100 folks each day, Mondays, Tuesdays, and Saturdays, where do they go to get that hot meal that gets them through that day?
Right.
And that's why we're here. That's why we're doing what we're doing. And again, the community helps support us in such a great way that we're able to provide a really nice hot meal 3 days a week.
It's just so great that you guys are able to do that work and provide those supports to this community, because we know that those needs are tremendous. And I'm sure if you could feed people 7 days a week, you would probably have the same numbers every single day. So, you know, but there's limitations to everything, even though we wish we didn't have them.
You know, with our volunteers, we've got over 150 years of experience with the volunteers that we have here. We have a lady who is 93 years of age. She's just come off back surgery. We've had another one who's had a pacemaker put in that's been here for 30 plus years. I mean, I'm the executive director by title.
Right.
But the women who are the volunteers here for over 145 years, I walk in and I do what they tell me to do.
Right. They're the ones who are actually running the show.
Absolutely. I've got the title, but I know where my bread is buttered, per se, so I'm just following orders.
In the last minute that we have together today, what do you most like about the work you do, the job you do?
Well, it's just the positive impact you feel that you're having on those who so desperately need one of life's essential items, food. There's nothing more disheartening to see, you know, your people, you know, going through dumpsters or kids coming in and in schools. I've been in schools at different times where they're complaining about being hungry. They didn't get enough food over the weekend. What we do here for those who are in a desperate situation where they got to have a hot meal or they have to have food, it's just really rewarding to know that we're able to, as a group here at Circle U, not just me personally, but all of us that are here, take a lot of pride in that we're able to at least provide a little bit of help for
Right.
people one day a week.
Well, we're going to have to leave it there today, but it was great getting to learn some more about Circle U and the history and the longevity in the community and all the work that you guys are doing. So thank you, and thanks to all your wonderful volunteers who make that happen. So as we wrap up this episode of the Third Sector, I'd like to take a second to thank my guests. For today's show, we had Sharlene George and Derek Parker from Open Arms Ministry, and as we just wrapped with Kyle Ingram from Circle U. Really thank them for sharing the time that their time and all the work they do for our community. Stay well, and we'll see you next time on the Third Sector.
WayneCounty.info gives you one-click access to local headlines, information, events, photos, opinion, sports, government updates, emergency alerts, obituaries, and more. Sign up for the WayneCounty.info daily news summary email so you don't miss a thing.